Hey guys, just give me 1 second here. Happy Friday. That was actually one of the first things I was going to say. I am so ready for it to be Friday this week. Okay, I just have to figure out why I have this. There we go. The wide angle is a little bit better because you can then see both of the surfaces. And just let me add this over onto my, share this over onto my classroom. Okay, so this morning, while I'm trying to get myself there, this morning I was playing around with a few techniques that I'm working on a class for my membership group, and I thought, this might be a good thing to come on here and share with you guys because I think a few things happened when we got the distress oxide inks. And okay, I'm just going to minimize this and get this on my way now. So, and then I'm just going to open this up so I could see my comments in front of me. They're super fun to play with, right? Like lots of fun. But some people have been frustrated because they've been out of stock. And I think that I will say that they are coming back in stock, but maybe not as fast as everybody would like them to. And I get that they're super fun to play with because I love them. Like, don't get me wrong, I totally love playing with the distress oxide inks. But I think that sometimes, or since they came out, you forget that you can play still with our regular inks. So, like I said, this is just going to be a little quick video, but let me just see if I can get rid of some of this light off the lights don't like it because it's all white, but that was what I really wanted to show you is that white cardstock doesn't have to be white cardstock, and it's got so many possibilities. And on top of that, it doesn't have to be distress oxides that you play with. You can, oh my goodness. One thing is moving and not the other. There we go. I think we are straight now. Oy, oy, oy. You could tell it's Friday. Um, so sorry, I'm gonna try and put something here so we stop trying to autofocus constantly. And it's just gonna, there's a lot of shiny stuff on my table, so there's a glare. So the distress oxides, yes, they're absolutely fun to play with. But I think that people are forgetting that with just white daisy cardstock and our regular inks, you can still have lots of fun. So I can't use these two stencils because they're drying in my kitchen sink because I wasn't actually planning on doing a live, but I just wanted to show you. So this is just white daisy cardstock, the stencil, and then I used Bluebell, regular Bluebell ink with a blending tool. You can also use a dauber, you can use a sponge, anything to put the ink on. Okay, so I like the fact that I can get different gradients of the ink just by the amount that I press on here. Okay, so this is one. And then the second one I did is white daisy cardstock with canary, and then I added glitter because everything looks better with glitter. So I added the moon dust, and you'll see on this one, I didn't completely slather the whole thing with glitter. I just wanted little pockets of glitter. And then the same thing, the intensity of the ink changes. I didn't want it to be all consistent. So we're going to do a different one. Like I said, I grabbed the different stencils because the other ones are drying because this was not my plan for today. But so a few things. We're going to put down the all-purpose mat because it makes it super nice for cleanup. You can just pick it up and rinse it off. Okay, so I grabbed just the other stencils that I had sitting here. So we are going to use this one because it's clean. Okay, we need a piece of White Daisy cardstock. Okay, so a few things. I am going to use some washi. I'm going to tape it down. I have big, huge pieces over there on my wall because I took them off the last stencils when I went to wash them. So I don't want the stencil to shift on me, right? So I'm just going to tape it down. And we'll add glitter to this one too because we can. So as soon as I untangle my washi tape, because I'll use it until it's got no stick. Okay, so I am just going to catch a tiny bit at the top of my White Daisy cardstock and my stencil. Just enough so that it does not move while I'm inking. And like I said, these are super fun to play with the Distress Oxides, but if you can't get them at the moment, don't forget that you have other options. Okay, so like I said, the first one was Bluebell, and then we did a Canary one. So now we're going to do a peach one. So I don't know if you've noticed the trend, but these are all the coordinating colors for Happiness Lives Here. So, which is like the featured collection this month. So maybe we will do something with these backgrounds with Happiness Lives Here. Not today, but later. Okay, so I just have our regular old ink. Okay, so I'm going to use, I have a blending tool with a sponge on it. You can switch them out. So I wanted to show you. I just keep, you can do like, I have obviously, I use a lot of them, but if you want, you could just keep one for like kind of all the blues, all the greens, all the oranges, etc. But I've just put them in a little envelope because I didn't want to put them in a plastic bag because that'll get messy. So they're just in a little tiny, they're coin envelopes. And I just wrote the color because obviously I'm going to have one for lots more colors than you guys would probably have. So this is my Bluebell one. Sorry, I could hear the dog crying. I was trying to figure out what's going on. She's just whining for a cookie. She'll be okay. So then here, right, this is my Canary one. So it's just popped in there. They fit into a really nice small space, right? And they won't get ink everywhere. And they don't stay inky from like a plastic bag, putting them in a plastic bag. Okay, so I have a clean sponge because I haven't used peach yet. So this is just regular peach ink. And I'm just going to pick up some of our regular ink and rub it into the stencil. And this one is very pretty. So you can use circular motions. You can press with more pressure or less pressure depending on how much ink you want. I think eventually she will give up on getting a cookie and come in here, but we will see. Okay, I'm going to lift it just so you guys can see what's happening. And it's nice and subtle, but I also don't want a crazy vibrant color, or I might have picked a different color to use, right? So I know it's fun to play with all the new ones, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing with them all at Album Retreat on the weekend. But like I said, if you have these already, you might as well use them. Okay, so basically I am building my own background, right? So I've made it darker in the middle and lighter as I go out. And just depending on how much ink I pick up and how heavy I press on my blending tool, and that gets me my different darknesses or different variants of color on my background here. So I think we should also add some stickles to this one. I'm wondering, maybe we'll add a different one though. The moon dust is almost like a clear, it's got little flecks of silver in it, but I think maybe just for demonstration purposes, we should pick a different one. So just let me finish inking this up how I want it. So you could also, if you want, when you add the stickles, you could add it over everything so it's even. But we will pick our color first and then decide. So if I wanted to just use this as my background, I might just cut off 1/4 of an inch from each side and mat it on a piece of cardstock to play up the design in the middle. And you could just do as little as adding your photos right onto it. You could cut it up for a card. So the stencils are all completely see-through. So you can see how you're doing. Okay, so I want to add just a little bit more over here because this part's lighter than the rest. So see, this one reminds me of like a ornate tile. You could also do different colors too, right? Like maybe I will. Okay, so we've done the peach. Maybe I'll add bluebell around the outside here. So all I'm going to do is see. So here's my bluebell one. I'll switch it out. It's stuck on there well. There we go. Okay, so now we'll add some bluebell on the outer edges. So yes, as I thought, oh, well, because I was designing that, well, maybe I will come on here and just show you what I'm playing with. Also, these inks wash off so well off of the stencils. So you can, yes, I like that. So I think I just wanted a little bit more bluebell over here. Okay, so now we're gonna just gonna move this out of my way a little bit. So like I said, I used the moon dust. So let's look at the other ones. So there is the nebula, and that's got like the gold stars in it. And then this one's asteroid, which is silver. So I think we'll use this one. And then this one is the solar flare. But I think we'll just use this one because I haven't opened it yet, so we might as well. So I'm just going to open it up. Put this in the garbage. I'll grab a palette knife. So it's the same like the same as when you're using texture paste. You do need to let it dry, and you don't want your stencil to shift. So this one is silver, obviously, and it has some nice chunks in there. And this, as I drop it, so we're going to have some there for sure. This stencil has more openings, so those large pieces will be fine on the stencil. So when there's large pieces and it's a little tiny stencil, it's not going to go through the stencil. So, oh my goodness, you guys. There we go. You would think I would have. So I'm just using a thin layer because I don't need a ton on here. I'm going to cover this one, unlike the one with like the flowers, where I just put it in sections, but I'm making it pretty thin so that it will not take all day to dry. So you saw, even when I dropped it, I was able to move it all around. I'm not going to lift it up though, like when I was inking, until I've covered everywhere I want to cover. And you don't have to use the stencils. You can cut your own stencils. We have the stencil sheets, so you could cut your own stencil with Cricut. You can actually just, if you're only going to use it a few times, you could cut it just from White Daisy cardstock and then just throw it away when you're done. So I'm just adding it to sections and spreading. Just trying to make sure that my stencil doesn't move and it gets underneath. So the washi tape helps, and then I'm just kind of holding it down. So I realized I hadn't done just like a good old regular technique video in a while, so I thought this would be a fun one. And I took some pictures this morning of the other ones, so I will add those on here. But like I said, don't forget that you can do things with just the, right, you could mix and match to the stickles on here. Okay, I think I'm getting close to the amount that I want on here. It'll all wash off the stencil really nicely too. So me just peek here. Oh, yes. Okay, I think I'm good. So I could take a baby wipe and clean up my palette knife and my stencil or throw them in the sink. I will just throw them in the sink after I'm done. But this is absolutely my favorite part is the reveal. So here we go. I'm just going to pull this out of the way and I will lift this up to the camera so you guys can see. You're not going to be able to see. Do the colors run if you use colored cardstock? Well, so they depends. So the ink, if you're using regular ink, you don't have that same moisture factor that you would have if you use like the Distress Oxide. And this is very liquidy. So I wouldn't use colored cardstock. I would be worried that that might run. So like, look how fast that was. So we're at 22 minutes and I showed you stuff. I showed you what I did earlier. And we have a whole background done and it's actually stunning in real life. So then you could take it and simply add, obviously I can't add it all the way around, but you could see you could just cut it down and add a border around the edge and literally throw your photographs and a title on here and you have a scrapbooking page. Like I said, you could cut it down and add it to cards. I mean, it's stunning, right? You could just cut it up too, and you could cut this one right down the center and add it to two different, if you cut it down the center, you could add it to two different sides and sandwich it on a double page spread. So that is what I have for you guys today. But I will take pictures and I'll add them because it is super hard to actually see on camera. So once it's dry, I will add photos. So like I said, I just played with the bluebell and the canary and the peach. Okay, and here's this one. And then this one is just the solid ink, no stickles on top of it. These two are dry. And then I just used the blending tool and I'm storing my sponges just in these little coin envelopes. And I think that is what I have. I would say the thing with cutting your own stencil too from like White Daisy cardstock is you're not going to get like repeated uses out of it. If you want something that you want to be able to use again and again, like I said, I would recommend our stencils or cutting it from the stencil sheets that we sell also. So like the White Daisy one, you might be able to use it a few times. So this is one of our close to my heart stencil sheets. So they're nice and sturdy. And then I'll show you one that I've cut from the stencil sheet. She eventually did give up asking for a cookie. She's come in here to lie down. So this one is cut just from our stencil sheets and they come in a package. I think it's 5 sheets, but I could be wrong on that. But so this one is just cut with the Cricut and it is different than these ones. But this one I just keep in a plastic pocket and as long as I clean it, I can use it again and again. This is a fun one. This is one of the stencil sheets and it's got the 9 different designs. So This comes in they're all in 3 packs. So this one comes with 2 others. You can see this one is nice and messy from using it all weekend, but it totally works fine. So you just wipe it down and can use it again. So that is what I've got for you guys today, and I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.